Okay, what is your name and what state do you live in?
My name is Farid Fard, and I live in the California, state of California.
When did your foreclosure start and what was the outcome? Was this your homestead?
Yes. So I've been at it since 2011. I've had in excess of 100 cases against various actors and attorneys. They um, um, gave me a wrong and misleading notice about the sale of my home, even though I had a court order of the attorneys from Severson and Berson to validate the debt and the alleged amount of the reinstatement so that I could pay them, since I had and I still do have significant amount of equity in my house. So to answer your question, they were supposed to validate the debt. A judge issued an order dated February 6, 2017.
Mm-hmm.
By two days after, which was February 8, 2017, they had to validate the debt. But on February 8, instead of validating the debt, they filed for a notice of trustee sale in direct contempt of the court order. And then they dismissed their action.
Okay, so that was the outcome. So they dismissed the initial foreclosure?
They dismissed. It was a title related case, since I have significant number of instruments that I filed in the county recorder against my house, as well as in the California Secretary of State, in the form of rescissions, notice to others, and notice of default and others.
So they dismissed their case. So are you still in the house?
I'm still in the house, but they're trying to evict me and my mother.
So they came back. They came back with a new foreclosure?
Yes, they came back with the unlawful detainer. So this is the point that I was sharing with you. They did not validate that, but 7 months after, they noticed everybody that the foreclosure sale of my house was postponed from original date of July the 6th to July the 20th for unknown reasons. And I have the audio and video file of
I will send that. I will send that along so that part of the story will be told also. Right. And let's just make clear, you're in a non-judicial state, correct, in California?
Yes.
So there was just really one foreclosure case that's been ongoing, but you were fighting the unlawful detainer at this point, right? You're still fighting that.
Yes.
Okay.
From 2017, yes.
Okay, great. All right, so I just want to see, forged and facially invalid assignments and endorsements have been filed and used as a basis to foreclose in millions of cases. Please describe any forged or facially invalid assignments or endorsements that you or any expert investigator or witness in your case found in your case.
Right. There are literally all the instruments that have been filed are forged and false, signed by robo-signers and robo-notarizers. In particular, I have a report from Bill Patalo, who is an ex-police officer and expert investigator. He basically has said that the entity that claimed to have loaned me money in 2007 had surrendered to California Secretary of State in 2003. So it did not exist to give me any money in 2007.
Right, great.
In addition to that, there are not numerous other violations. California Civil Procedure Code 2015.5 states very clearly that if any instrument is signed in California or outside of California, it has to say under penalty of perjury under the laws of California. And if it doesn't say that, then that instrument is void, and there are California Supreme Court cases supporting it. As a matter of fact,
let's go back to that in a few minutes when we get to our due process violations we're going to talk about. Right now, I wanted to know, Entities foreclosing are representing themselves to be trustees for trusts, yet these trusts often no longer exist or have no capacity to demand foreclosure. What, if anything, indicated to you that this happened in your case? You mentioned the
Right.
Padalo affidavit. Did you say that he spoke about that?
He actually spoke about the non-existence of the loan because they said that if they lend me money in 2007, that entity that claims to have loaned me money in 2007 didn't exist in California, and he corroborated as he usually does. In regards to other items such as the existence of the trust, I actually have repeatedly sent in excess of a dozen subpoena to Nation Star, to the U.S. Bank as trustee, mortgage, Greenpoint Mortgage Pass-Through Series 2007 AR2, and I demanded to know the name coordinates of the custodian of records. Based on the information that I have, there is no such entity. It's just a name. It's a rented name from U.S. Bank by Nation Star for a fee, because that entity, from the extensive research that I have done, doesn't exist. And you can't prove a negative, because if the other side says that it exists, they have to come proof of the existence, like under what state it was formed, who are the certificate holders, who paid value for those, and proof of those payments. None of those exists. As a matter of fact, I have sent, as I mentioned, in excess of a dozen subpoena. And I
Thank you.
said, I want to know who I have damaged so that I can make him a whole again, because my intention is to make him a whole. But if I don't know who I'm dealing with, except the attorneys, I can make him a whole.
Right.
As a matter of fact, recently, I told the judge, the same judge, that you ordered a sanction in the amount of $3,042, if I remember correctly. Ask them to give me the bank account of because your order clearly says that I have to pay in excess of $3,000 to this entity. Ask them to give me their bank account information so I can wire that. So the judge came back and said, well, you can send a check to the attorneys. So what I did, because I knew what they're going to do, I got a money order for $2, and I said, within 5 days after your deposit of this check inside the bank account of the custodian of record of the alleged claimant, I will send the balance to you. But if you don't, it's your admission that such entity doesn't exist. So guess what? They did not deposit that check, even though their fiduciary responsibility clearly says that they must deposit that as the fiduciary of the alleged claimant into the account of the alleged claimant if such entity exists.
Oh, great. Okay. Did you let's see. We have just a short amount of time, so I'm trying to ask the important questions and get the important information now in the next 5 minutes or so. Did you said the judge ignored your arguments? That I would say is a due process violation. What did you appeal, or did you experience any other due process violations in your case that you were aware of or that you might have appealed?
Yes, every single decision have been appealed to the 6th District Court of Appeal, to the 9th Circuit Court of Appeal, which is on the federal side. As a matter of fact, I removed this particular case to the District Court for the United States, right? Which is not United States District Court, as you know, based on I think Dr. Cordello is his name, if I remember correctly. So the U.S. District Court came and remanded it with the pre-filing order that I must seek. So I told them, look, I didn't remove this case to your court. I removed it to an Article 3 court. Then I appealed it to the 9th Circuit Court of Appeal, and I told them, before me paying the fees for this case, please tell me whether or not you equate United States District Court with the District Court of Appeal, with the District Court for the United States, which is an Article 3 court. They dodged the question. They dodged the question at least 3 times. And then they dismissed the appeal for lack of payment. As a matter of fact, I'm sending this, I just prepared this it's a writ of certiorari to the United States Supreme Court. And I say, look, I asked this question from these guys. They never had any, and in at least 2 cases, Motini and Balzac, the United States Supreme Court has said that these 2 courts are 2 different courts. One is territorial with no judicial power. The other one is an Article 3 court. And that's the case that I removed the case to. But they dodge the question. They don't answer you, the simple question that I asked them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you ever hire an attorney in your case? Or have any difficulty finding an attorney?
It is difficult to find them. If you find them, the best that they offer you is modification. And I say, modify with who? Like, I don't want to modify. I want to pay. I have the assets. I have significant equity in my home and have lots of family and friends. We are willing, but I can't find any damaged party. So these guys are basically trying to extort money from me, right? And they want to call it modification. And some other ones, because I was so aggressive going against these guys, they said, look, you're too aggressive. And if I do whatever you're telling me to do, I will be disbarred. And the same thing happened to Charles Marshall, right? Right.
Yes.
And Gary Dubin in Hawaii, that is.
Yes.
So I worked, and I didn't work with Gary Dubin because he's got
Don't forget
own...
Bruce Jacobs also in Florida is being disbarred for the same thing. Okay, thank you for explaining that, because that is a big issue. Did you learn about any conflicting interests that the judge in your case might, or any of the judges in your case, since you had so many, which might have, which perhaps they didn't report, that might have had a bearing on their decisions?
Right. On their financial statement, you see the county bribes the judges and they call that judicial benefits. The county is not the employer of the judges, right? There are 2 different entities. So when the houses are being foreclosed, the county here reassesses taxes, transfer fees, and then turns around and pays the judges, which is quid pro quo. And there are tons of case laws on that. On top of that, in their financial statements, they do not disclose that the county is bribing them, or they call it judicial benefit, right? That's an IRS violation. I actually sent Form 56 to IRS and I notified them that, look, these guys are getting paid, but they're not declaring that in their form financial statement. And I also filed for a writ of quo warranto to the California Supreme Court. In California, if you want to file for a writ of quo warranto, which is under what authority, basically, that's what it means. You have to go, according to them, you have to go through the California Attorney General. And I said, in order for me to seek relief, I have to ask you, give me the law that authorizes such a thing. And they all shut off. They did not say anything. So anyway, I filed for a writ of quo warranto, and they are in the default, rather on fault opportunity to cure phase, which this was sent last Friday. I gave them 7 days. This Friday, they will default because they will not produce their bond, liability insurance, oath of office, and a whole bunch of other particulars that I've asked them.
Oh, California. Wait, I'm sorry. You asked that of the judge in your case?
Of the judge, and I filed that in the California Supreme Court. But they have not filed. They have not filed that, right? They have received it, and I have proof that they have received it, but they haven't filed it because they know it's going to be the end of their crooked judicial system.
Okay, so you think that can you explain again, because I don't understand, okay, honestly, the conflicting interests that the judge had in your case? You mentioned the county. So are you saying there's more to it than that? Like,
yes.
Okay, yes. So you think maybe some kind of mafia, like corruption kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay. So but what is this other kind of thing you were talking about, the interest regarding the county? I don't understand that.
Okay, so there are 2 things. The county, whenever a house is foreclosed, they have transfer taxes and increased asset value, right? So in my, yeah,
When it's foreclosed,
right,
that means money for the county.
right, because
Okay.
of transfer taxes and
Uh,
increased value. So I
no,
was
does a
paying for,
judge get a bonus of some kind for that then? I don't understand that. Does he get
yeah.
more
So
pay then?
so there are actually several things. Every case is being securitized to what they call CUSIP, CUSIP. Every case, whether it's criminal, federal, whether it's family law, whether it's, so they package this, they send it to United States District Court, they package it and they sell it as a securitized asset, because as you know, they consider us as assets, right? Now, so every
Lost me here. All right. So the case itself, the foreclosure judgment, which like for example, in my case, I have a foreclosure judgment for $377,000. They took my home for $93,000. So you're saying, are they? I don't know. Are they selling my judgment for whatever the difference is, or?
Yeah, so every case that is dodged, it's docketed in court, is assigned a QSIP number, right? That QSIP number is being traded on Wall Street through Black Knight, yeah, Black Knight and the Vanguard, right? Those are the top guys that
I
manage
thought it's
the
called Black Rock.
Black Rock. Sorry, what did I
Okay.
call it? Black Knight, Black Rock, right? So those guys are the ones that are managing
Really?
the retirement funds of all the judges, federal and state court judges. Now, CalPERS, which is California Public um, Retirement Fund,
Right.
uh,
Transit workers, I think.
and judges. Every judge, every court employee at any level and at all level has a minimum 70% minimum 70% of their retirement coming from CalPERS, which has invested in asset-backed securities and mortgage-backed securities, which are really not backed by anything. So there's a conflict of interest from multiple areas. Number one is QSIP. Number two is their retirement funds. Number three is coming from, they're getting funds and monies from the county, which is not their employer. And
Thank you.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you. Now, what's been your experience in getting help from any government programs or any government entity, for example, the FBI or perhaps the Attorney General of your state?
You know, I've been to FBI. Now FBI, when I go to the San Jose police, believe me when I say this, they disappear as if they know me. They disappear because I've provided for them. I said, look, if a crime is committed, you're obligated to arrest someone, right? And they said yes. I said, here's proof positive. You cannot deny it. And I have them on audio and video, and these are the codes. Go arrest them. They all disappear. They said that we have to talk with our boss. They went and talked with the sergeant and captain, right? And then the second time when I went there, they actually put these cardboards that they say that they're on their lunch break. All of them, not one or two of them. Four of them disappeared. Not once, twice. And I have witness to that fact. I went to the sheriff department. I told them the same thing. I said, look, if I show you ample evidence of crime and I demand that those people to be arrested, will you arrest them? They said, yeah. I said, here it is. You cannot, right? So I gave them the link, I gave them the audio and video, and I gave them ample proof papers and affidavits and witnesses because there were two of us who were there. And so it took them 2 or 3 weeks. I don't know who they talked to at the sheriff's department. The guy came back and gave me my paper and said, here, Farid, if you don't take it, I'm going to throw it in the garbage. I said, no problem. No problem. Just write down this is what you're going to do. He said, no, I'm not going to do that. I said, okay, I have a witness here. Do what you just told me. Go ahead and throw my verified criminal complaint under oath in the garbage. He said, no, I'm just going to keep it here. So he dodged the question.
Oh, MG.
I mean, who do you go to? I've been to Secret Service. I've been to FBI. I've been to U.S. Marshal. I've been to even to what they call it, ATF, by email and other things, right? Nobody does anything because they're all part of the same gang.
Or they're afraid.
they're afraid. I'm sure in this
Or they're ignorant, right? I mean, they might just really think, oh, if you don't pay your mortgage, then you must have to lose your home. You know, that's what I was told. The FBI agents in my case laughed at me. Sorry, I'm going on my case now, but will edit me out. Anyway, so this is fantastic. Thank you so much for your time and for letting us record this video, Farid. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, I'll let you go. And hopefully we'll see you at some of our meetings because some of our other homeowners could really use your advice and encouragement.
Yeah, I'll definitely try to